for Jackie Dumpson. Check it out. Now, this is going to be a cautionary tale for all you young motherfucking artists. All right, listen up and listen up clearly. I'm going to say it once, real nice and short. If you don't have a motherfucking hit, you shouldn't have a motherfucking record deal, okay? Now, let me explain why I say that. Nowadays, with the internet, with all the resources at your fingertips, why the fuck would you sign over the rights to your music, your publishing, whatever else, to somebody else when you could do more for yourself given the fact you have nothing, okay? Again, if you don't have a hit, you shouldn't have a record deal, all right? Now, let me explain what usually happens. And people make these mistakes, and there's tons of rappers I could point to now that have made this mistake, and Kodak Black, which this story is about, made the same mistake as well. Now, you're young, you're rapping, you're kind of getting a little buzz, but you think you need that extra push to get over the top. Somehow somebody convinces you, really finesses you, to think that him signing you to his little independent record label, because he probably impressed you with his new cars, he probably impressed you with the money he threw at the strip club, so you've seen the wealth or the riches that he has. You think if I'm signed to him, the money will just make this shit all work, okay? Doesn't really work like that, all right? So a lot of people sign to these little record labels along the way, and eventually their talent, not the record label, their talent blows up. Now, when you blow up, you realize the record label ain't been doing nothing for you, because really, they were just leeching off of you, kind of investing in the fact that you were going to go big. However, they were fucking up by not providing you anything to help you go big. Now, when you realize this, that's when the major labels start coming, okay? That's when Atlantic, Def Jam, Epic Records, 300, even though they're independent supposedly, right? They all come knocking on the door like, yo, we want you. Now, before you could sign, you forget you're signed to another motherfucker who got you when you were young, okay? Now, you know what usually happens in that case, and this is exactly what happened in Kodak Black's case, because Atlantic Records came calling for Kodak Black after he had a couple singles blow up via the internet. And trust me, the record label that he signed to, and by the way, the name of that record label is Dollars and Deals. Okay, that sounds shady. Come on. Dollars and Deals. Okay, basically, that record label he signed to when he was like motherfucking 16, right? That record label was doing nothing for him. However, he was still signed. So when Atlantic came calling, basically the label that did nothing for him had to basically do a deal with Atlantic. And then what ends up happening is that that label that did nothing for you always gets paid. So basically they're getting paid for just lucking up and signing you. All right. Now, Kodak Black just recently settled a lawsuit out of court with Dollars and Deal, a company that signed him when he was hella young. Later, he popped off. Then he signed to Atlantic Records, but Dollars and Deal had to do that deal. Okay? Now, Kodak was trying to fight it in court for a while. Apparently, the guy who owns that company, Dollars and Deal, was in prison or some shit. And according to like what Kodak lawyers were saying, he didn't have a lawyer present, and also the company that signed him didn't even have a talent agency license. So they didn't have the right to sign him. However, because they don't want to go back and forth to court, there's an out-of-court settlement, and this is now done. Which means money is getting cut, and probably cut unnecessarily, because had Kodak had not signed to this label when he was hella young that did nothing for him, he wouldn't have had to pay all this out. So again, this is a cautionary tale to all you young rappers. Don't be talking about you want a deal. You don't got a fucking hit. You don't need a deal, all right? You need to make a song, all right? That's if you are choosing that route. Some people don't need a deal because they say, I just need a fan base. That's what you should say. I need a fan base. You need a fan base of people who can fuck with your music and support it. But you don't need a record label to supposedly get big. Trust me. You shouldn't even be thinking about that until you got a song, you get some leverage, and then you could actually dictate the terms of how you want to deal with them. All right? Get a comment box. Make sure you guys like them, subscribe. Just a little honest advice from the Grove Shader. Just a little honest advice. Get a comment box.